So we just got some new parts in today from Detroit Axle. This video we're going to be installing the tie rod ends, and the steering linkage. We got some of the tools we're going to need here, starting with liquid wrench penetrating oil. We're going to spray that on all the bolts and nuts so we can get them loose. Got a ratchet, some needle nose pliers, 11/16, 3/4 inch, and 13/16 inch sockets. And just because we got the impact gun. And we're going to be wearing gloves to try to keep our hands from getting as dirty as what they probably will anyway. So we're going to start off by spraying some penetrating oil on all the nuts and bolts so we can bust them loose. We're going to leave the steering linkage together, so we need to spray this one to take the steering stabilizer off. We got a new steering stabilizer. And we need one on the end of this rod. On the top. That's where the nut is, so we can pick up. Just like this one, except it's on top. Now we're going to start taking stuff apart. I'm going to go ahead and start with this nut here on the steering linkage connecting to the pitman arm. Let's see if I can get it off. Oh, I got the wrong size socket.
Which one do you need?
I think I need 7/8 actually. These are different sizes than the new parts. Of course.
Alright, where would that be?
On the table.
Do you want me to stop the video?
Sure. Well, I had to get a 7/8 socket. I had a 13/16. It wasn't quite big enough. So we'll see if we can get this off real quick. So now these tie rod ends that connect to the steering knuckle, we're going to use a 13/16 inch socket and loosen those up so we can get those off. Maybe. Time for a cheater bar. It's on there pretty good. Well, that busted loose pretty easy with the cheater bar. So I'm just gonna work on getting the rest of this one off, then we'll move to the other side. Well, after a lot of wrenching, I decided you can take these off with the tires on, especially since I've got enough ground clearance here on this four-wheel drive truck. But to make it easier on myself, I'm going to lift up the truck and take the passenger tire off to get that one off. Now we want to take the bolt out of the steering stabilizer that connects it to the truck. Next we're going to get a hammer and tap on these tie rod ends so that we can get them out of place. And we're also going to take that steering stabilizer out, which it's already loose, you can tell by the finger being put down on it there. So beat on your truck at your own risk. We've got the old assembly out here. I kept it in one piece so we can take measurements, so we can line up the new parts to match the measurements on these parts here. We got the tie rod ends put on the rods. Now we need to measure the old ones so that we can try to match the length on the new ones. We want to make sure that we pay attention to the direction that the ends are oriented, as well as when we're measuring, we want to go from the center of the ball joint to the center of the ball joint so that we can match that as closely as possible. I think I'm actually going to leave these joints loose until we get them put on the truck, and then we'll double check the measurements again before we tighten everything up. Now it's time to start putting the components back on the truck. I didn't record it, but I also changed out the rear shocks on this truck. They really needed it. The old shocks were pretty bad. Part of the reason I didn't record it is because I was doing it at night and I don't have good lighting out here. So I usually try to record when the sun's out. But it's a pretty simple swap. There's a bolt on the bottom and a bolt on top. Let's see. Kind of hard to see on this side, but had to get the tire out of the way in order to remove that bolt and replace it actually. But the other side is easier to see. I'll show you that here in a second. So this bolt that's above the frame here is actually the bolt that holds the shock in on the top, and then there's one bolt on the bottom. So like I said, it's pretty simple. Just got a bolt on the top and the bolt on the bottom. Just pull the bolts out, pull the old shock out, and then put the bolts back in, tighten them down, good to go. Of course, these are the Bilstein 5100 series. I really like them. They've done pretty good for me on vehicles in the past, so I think I'm going to keep using them. I'm Jay Ray. I'd like to thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up and a subscribe if you're not already. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future content from my channel.